Okay, so this is, I don't know what week. I think I do that every time. Oh well. Chapter 6 on Sandel's justice. This week we're hitting Rawls, which is super confusing. So to start off, we went over the veil of ignorance, which is just kind of like a metaphor for people to make decisions without knowing their position, to make the decisions to see if it would promote our own selves and our own choices. So the discussion questions were to evaluate and to apply the OP to an issue of our choice. And first I'm going to start off with evaluating. So when you were defining evaluate, you were talking about, would we endorse the two principles? Why would we endorse them? Would we reject them? Talking about we as a society, and I feel as if we would accept some, but reject most. I feel like we all, as a country, as a society, as personally, would be more so in favor of the intuitive argument, like the first argument, with the principles, not necessarily both arguments, just because the rich would be benefiting the rich, the poor would be, not really benefiting, that's kind of the wrong word, poor would be fighting the poor, the rich would be fighting the rich, which is normally just how it goes at this moment. And I feel like it always will go at this moment. So really, I feel like we're kind of already pushing for that. We're not necessarily, this is not a new concept. It's something that we're fighting right now, and that the rich and the wealthy and the good and the positive are, fighting the higher battle, and the bad and the poor and, the low life are kind of already fighting the low battle. And that's something that's already happening. This is not a new concept. Sorry, I was at a debate tournament this weekend, and so that's kind of where this new jargon is coming in. Just caught myself, sorry. But one thing that I really, me personally, and I'm sure most of the society would reject, was the feudalism, being born into whatever you are. And I know back in historic times and just older times, that's what it was. If your parents were doctors, you were born into becoming a doctor. If your parents were peasants, you were born into peasantry, if that's even a word. And so that's something that I think we've already kind of gone past. So we obviously, as a society, would not go back to that. And we're applying the OP. I just like saying that. Issue to a choice, or to an issue of our choice. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry, it just now got lighter. Whatever. And the only thing I can think of is, here fairly recently at least, and the most popular that people even watching this video how many ever years can still kind of argue for or against, is the Clinton and Trump presidency and the race to the Oval Office. I'm not going to go into specifics, just not to disrupt people. But Trump was pulling for things that Hillary was completely opposing. I feel as if they were in, our position, if they were having to choose between two people who necessarily weren't the best candidates, they were both fighting for something completely to the opposition of what they were. It's such a different feel in our shoes. And so if they, sorry, not know what position occupied. Okay, yeah, you don't really know what position you are. If you're under this veil of ignorance and you're hearing about these two people who are going, oh gosh, sorry, that person just hit the curb. If you're, opposing each other, and you're not knowing what position you're going to be in, but you're just hearing about this under this veil of ignorance, obviously it's going to scare you, just as it scared the American people. However, we eventually had to come to a decision, and these people under the veil of ignorance would have to come to a decision and to see what was best for what. inside or outside of this veil of ignorance. So this was a really confusing topic, like I say every week. But thank you for surviving my almost death with me, and I look forward to next week.